We're live.
Boo!
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Iron Palace Podcast, the world's most anabolic podcast that has more tests than a college finals week and more pump than a tire shop on a Monday.
I like that one. That was pretty good.
ChatGPT, man, never fails me.
We were getting pretty good till he cut us off.
Yeah. I mean, we really found a pretty good rhythm there, didn't we?
Way to kill the vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Alan was about to start freestyling.
He was. He was about to start spitting.
I was thinking or not, he's about to get started in the, yeah.
I was having flashbacks to elementary school with Stomp the Yard. Whenever the music teacher didn't want to teach that day, just wheeled in the little cart VHS player.
Well, I forget how
Stomp
much
the
older.
Yard or just Stomp? Did he have you watching the movie where the rich girl goes to an inner city school and has to learn the new ways of dancing with the inner city people? Or was it Stomp where they play percussive instruments that aren't percussive instruments?
Stomp.
Okay. Because Stomp the Yard is a movie.
I think, is Julia Stiles in that?
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's kind of like the Bring It On movies, but with dance.
I didn't watch those either.
Sure you did. Sure you did, Caleb.
Yeah.
I know you did.
And I was thinking, I was like, how young is Caleb for that to have been a movie that they wheeled in?
That's what I was like. It was weird because I was like, if they were bringing in Stomp the Yard, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Just your teacher hung over going, watch this. It's my favorite movie.
Yeah.
DVD or was it VHS?
VHS.
Wow.
Okay, then it had to be Stomp.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Stomp. I don't know.
They came to
You
Marble.
said Stomp.
They also stomp. Well, I did say stomp, but they also stomp on the yard. So
Yeah. They came to Marable College one time.
which one, Stomp the Yard or Stomp?
Stomp.
Oh,
And that's actually a pretty cool show.
If you close your eyes and ignore how cheesy and gay they look, it sounds dope.
Yeah.
And then you watch how like over animated they are, and you're like, this is a little
I
weird.
feel like it's kind of like watching the
choreography is
Blue
a
Man Group.
Yeah.
Yeah, choreography's a little over the top, but wow, how did we get onto that already?
Over the top. Yeah, I don't really know.
I'm gonna leave Caleb saying he likes the Blue Man Group away. I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm in because he's got me flustered over here.
When did I say I like the Blue Man Group?
You mentioned the Blue Man Group, and your body language said you loved it.
Look at his mic cable.
He said one time.
I was like, what about it?
He said one time he walked into a group
That
of
was
men,
intentional.
and they were just a group of regular men. But by the time he was done, they were a Blue Man Group.
You know what was intentional and then I messed it up?
What's
and
that?
it bothers me a lot.
What?
Is after Linda had asked you why you're the only one with a green cable,
Yeah.
I tried to make everybody's the colored cable, except this one.
I don't like the way you said colored.
And it bothers me every time I look in here now. But
Yeah.
by the time I noticed it, I had already ran the cable all the way around.
Oh man.
So I was like, well, that's not getting changed.
Yeah.
Well, technically, black is a color.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, if I
Don't take that away from them, Caleb.
I'm proud of you, Dave, because I really thought you were going to say us.
I'm mixed.
Like feelings or
It's like,
I mean, I could pull it with 23 in me.
please don't. I've seen enough of your 23 and me. All right. Anyways, we got a lot to cover today.
all right.
For once, we actually have content to talk about on podcast.
That's wild.
Lame. Why change it up now, dude? You've gone soft.
That's so off brand for us.
Yeah. So, anyways,
You've changed.
even though this is going to be 2 weeks after the Smoky Mountain Games, to us it was this weekend.
Yeah.
So I thought it went pretty well.
Yeah, I thought it went great.
A lot of attempts on the day stones. I'm still the only one in the book for using no straps, but there was 4 more people.
Yeah. Well, if you don't, cause Brandon got his name in the book, but he lifted it at the demo.
Yep. So I still count Brandon. So Brandon.
Oh yeah. I mean, he legit lifted it, but I don't count him as lifting it.
Okay, that's
that
true.
day.
So what we had 2.
We had 4. He would have been 5,
Who was the 4 then?
or he was 3,
Yeah,
and it would have been
John.
4. How'd it go?
You had that the mustache.
Oh yeah, I forgot John did it.
V.
Yeah, John
Yeah,
Weinrich, Jeremy Robinson.
Save D'Artagnan.
I cannot remember that other guy's name that lifted him on the field. I was freaking out last night.
The mustache. He's got the thick mustache. He's got a good looking mustache. I mean,
It's like a Wyatt Earp mustache.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
But yeah, I couldn't remember his name. He followed us on Instagram, and I was trying to tag everybody that I knew in the video that I posted.
His Instagram's something Thor or something.
That's what I thought, but I couldn't find him.
Maybe he blocked you.
Maybe
Pass
smart.
the
That'd be a smart move, honestly. I would block me.
I have you blocked on Instagram.
That's smart. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's how I know you're intelligent.
I turned my Instagram back on just so I could block you.
And then turned it back off.
Just in case I forgot.
So other than those three, was there anybody else?
Okay, so maybe there were.
So Brandon would be 4.
Maybe he was the fourth. Yeah, maybe he was the fourth. There were 3, and he was the fourth.
Yep.
I was thinking there was 4, and he was the 5th. But yeah,
but picked up a lot of followers. A lot of people are now pretty set to train to lift the day stones next year.
yeah. Well, most people have no familiarity with stone lifting.
Mm-mm.
Once they try it, they're hooked.
Yeah, I mean,
It's kind of like
it's like Dr. Bill
meth.
Crawford said. Like, never has he came in contact with any kind of historic lifting stone and not lift it, just because he said you can almost feel just the history and the strength in the stone.
yeah, like just going to Husafell,
Mm-hmm.
pulling up and see, like you could see it there. You could see what was left of the sheep pen.
Yep.
And the stone laying in front of it, like it's weird, like you
Yep.
can kind of there's a feeling associated with that.
And it's the first iteration of lifting, of strength.
Yeah.
Before there were weight plates or barbells, there was big rocks.
Yeah.
So,
BARs.
yeah, BARs, if you will.
Thank God for John Browning.
But and that's what got us hooked. So I think next year's going to be a lot more fun. I think we're going to have a lot of people coming out of the woodwork. I've already had people messaging me the podcast, Instagram, or even me on my own personal Facebook asking, hey, how do I lift these?
Yeah.
Well, for one, you just pick them up. 2, you just tell me you want to.
Right.
Like, I've had a lot of people even say, if I'd known those were there, I would have showed up. I was like, well, for one, we posted it everywhere, but 2, you don't have a crowd, but you can come lift them.
Yeah. I mean, they're here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're right here. So it was a lot of fun. Our live commentary, I know it was very spotty. We had a lot of problems with network early on, but once we got it sorted out, I thought live commentary went pretty good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. Alan has enjoyed rewatching it.
That's right, because Alan, of course, couldn't hear any of it because he was out there being a monster.
He was being
the field.
commentated on.
Yeah.
Live. But
he was out there making Danny Webster nervous.
Yep.
Nah, not really.
And from what I hear, the swag bags went over really well. So our first event that we sponsored, swag bags, it seems like everybody liked them. I seen multiple people walking by going. So I take that as a good sign.
I saw Bill Baxter skipping around with his on. He was literally skipping.
Yep. The swag bag had nothing to do with him skipping, though. That's just how Bill gets around.
I was like, was he just excited about the swag bag, or is that just his normal modus of transportation?
In my mind, yes, he was excited about it. In reality, that's just how Bill gets around, I think. He about poked my eye out with his sombrero, though, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Whoa.
But,
Is that what they call it now?
yeah.
I'm glad Caleb added with sombrero quickly.
Are you kidding me? You think I was going to leave like an opportunity like that open for Dave?
I'm still disappointed I didn't get to go fence.
Yeah.
I could have
So-
whooped most of them.
Other than not getting to fence, how was your first Scottish festival?
It was cool.
I know we didn't get as much of an opportunity to walk around as we wanted, but
No, I enjoyed it. My wife enjoyed it too. Like, she was looking for, she's like, is there another one around here like that? I was like, well, not like festival size, but I mean, there's other games. It's like, it's not a knock on Smoky Mountain. It's more of a testament to how fun it was. It made me want to go to the one that's at the Ren Fair in Kentucky.
Mhm.
Like, I want to go to another one of those that has like the
Georgia
festival.
Mountain's coming up.
actually,
full
It's a
festival
little about
thing,
2 hour
yeah.
drive.
I think a fun one that you would like is Grandfather Mountain. Grandfather Mountain's
that's
also
like a 4 or 5 day event. It's
Grandfather Mountain's a big one. Do they still do Stone Mountain?
Yeah.
So Stone Mountain's a good one.
And the wife just came through Sunday, so like some of the vendors were gone, and it wasn't really as crowded by the time she came through. And she was still
Saturday's
like,
the big day, and I
It's got
think
her wanting to get one of those little kilts, which I'm stoked for because she's really pretty hot.
But I know one opportunity that we missed on that was solely my fault was we did not take the stones out on the field on Saturday. And my whole thought was we had a lot of people coming to the tent to lift them, including the athletes, and none of them wanted to lift them on the field. So I just decided, okay, we won't bother taking them out there. Well, then Sunday we took them out there, and we had people coming from everywhere wanting to lift them.
Yeah.
So that was my bad. That was a bad call. We should have just taken them on the field Saturday.
We did ask, and we was all like, well, they're just coming here, so.
Yeah, but still.
Yeah, we were kind of on the same mindset of, I think everybody that was interested has already come by, but we were obviously wrong.
I take that as a lesson learned for next year. I mean, it was our first year. This whole thing was, I mean, the stones weren't really thrown together. We knew that was going to happen ahead of time. The live broadcast was kind of, I don't want to say thrown together because that was the best that we could come up with, I think, even if we had known for a while.
Yeah.
Because we're balling on a budget, boys. So, but all in all, I thought it was a great event. I thought, especially for our first one that we did that kind of stuff, I thought it went really well. And got to introduce Dave. Dave, you didn't get a Scotch egg.
No.
Bruh.
I had chicken on a stick, though, and it was
I sacrificed 3 meals for that Scotch egg.
2 meals right here. Yeah.
Like, I
sacrificed several meals
Yeah.
for fish and chips, and I did it again the next day. Cause
I did
really
the day
good.
before. The day before, I did sacrifice
That
for
fish
fish
was
and
banging,
chips.
dude.
Worth
That fish
it.
was real good. I don't even like fish. That shit was good, dude.
Should have got the haggis.
I talked to the.
Watch your mouth, dude.
I will say, I don't know if it's the cut that's like I'm just really hungry all the time, so everything looks good, or if it's how your taste buds change every 7 years. I think I might be hitting that because everything somehow looks better and tastes good nowadays.
I think that's a lot of what had to do with me having that fish and chips. Because normally I would never order fish anywhere. If anything else was an option, even if fish was the only option, I'd be like, I'll pass. But I was like, oh, let's get the fish and chips. I ate it 2 days straight. It was so freaking good, dude.
Dude, I asked the Japanese because they
Wait
came.
till you're 12 or 14 weeks in.
No, dude. Dave sat across from me at lunch today, and he goes, "Man, I have no energy. I'm just tired all the time." I was like, "Welcome to the show, buddy." Because I get a comment from my boss, if not every day, every other day. He's like, "Man, you all right? You seem kind of beat down." I was like, "I'm exhausted. I have no energy, no food."
Are you exhausted?
No.
Dude, I'm sleepy all the time.
I'm chronically sleepy and chronically hungry and chronically snippy.
Well,
Oh,
we've
yeah, we know
noticed
he's
that.
Saucy. He's Skinny Caleb is saucy.
Saucy. No, there was, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago where there was about 3 or 4 days where I was like, man, I am dragging. I thought, well, what Caleb was said about the cut, I was like, well, it hit me. I don't know.
You think it's because you have more to cut than what he
I'd
has?
say I've still got a lot of fat that I'm burning off that he doesn't have.
That might be part of it.
I'm still quite fat, but I'm also still quite sleepy.
Yeah.
To quote Benchwarmers, I think the Gus bus is running out of gas. Because, like I said yesterday, I'm getting to a weight that I refuse to go under.
Yeah.
And so the minute the scale says 228, I don't care where we are in time frame. Caleb's done. Because I will not go under 228. now we're officially hitting hard depression.
See, I'm trying to get under 200.
Yeah, I'd like to.
Godspeed, soldier. But 231, I went into almost hit panic mode. Like I weighed in, I was like, oh, we are 3 pounds away from a real big moment.
Because I figured 225 for 22 reps, it's about a 400-pounder at max. So if I can get under 200 and still bench 400, I feel like my shot at winning some competitions are pretty good.
Really good. Really good.
I feel like I might be able to beat Ashley.
You'd be down there with it. Close to his weight then.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, he'd be super competitive with Ashley because now you're pushing his weight class.
Because I'm thinking Ashley, I mean, he looks like he's gaining weight. I mean,
I know, he put his weight up there
he's
once.
thicker than a Snicker now.
Didn't he say he weighs like 180? I want to say 187 is what he posted. I could be
I
wrong.
don't see how you can look that jacked and weigh 187 pounds.
It's the lower half is only.
Hear that, Ashley?
He's got
Actually, he said you had a narrow weenie.
Not in so many words, but
You actually used more words to say he had a narrow weenie. And hand gestures.
no one likes a words nerd. Okay.
Across America, countless people can't access the health care they desperately need. At Remote Area Medical, we believe everyone deserves quality care. That's why we offer free dental, vision, and medical services at mobile pop-up clinics nationwide. Just compassionate care from volunteer professionals. Your tax-deductible donation makes these clinics possible, changing lives and creating healthier communities. Join us today in bringing essential health care to those in need at ramusa.org.
Word nerd.
Other thing that happened this weekend, World's Strongest Man.
History was made at World's
What
Strongest
the
Man.
heck happened? I've already seen controversy come up about it,
Yeah.
which I don't really think there's any controversy to it. I think it's just how the cards played out. For anybody that there's no way you haven't heard yet by now, because by the time this comes out, it's 2 weeks later.
I mean, David's even heard.
Anyways, Rain O'Neill.
Right.
I saw it mentioned in the group chat.
Okay.
Anyways, Rain O'Neill won World's Strongest Man. His World's Strongest Man debut.
Yeah.
Never competed there before, ever.
And is that the first time that's happened? The first time competitor won it?
Yes.
Okay.
Also, the first strongman out of South Africa.
Yeah, and the first one out of Africa. in general. Yeah.
Which really, we've all been rooting for Iron BB for a while. And
As a man who's 0.2% from Ghana, Sierra Leone, and other parts of the Ivory Coast, that makes me very proud.
so anyways, first one. He's also only been competing in strongman for 2 years. If you look at his competition record, he's got 2 Africa's Strongest Man records and then like one other small title that he competed somewhere else. That's it.
Now I will lift the weight.
He doesn't.
And he does it, yeah.
Also, my favorite is Eddie Hall did an interview with him after he won, and he said it's crazy that he's also a full-time employee. He still has a completely full-time job,
Yeah.
and Eddie Hall told him, well, hopefully the sponsorships come out of the woodwork, so you can quit your job and really focus in and stuff. And he said, I don't think I'll ever quit. I actually enjoy being an electrical engineer. I was like, homie's an electrical engineer. He's not just like working a diesel mechanic job or something like Eddie Hall did. Like,
Yeah.
full-on electrical engineer in South Africa.
You'd think, I just associate like strong men doing physical jobs.
Yeah, it's blue-collar jobs.
That's how they got into.
Or working at a cell phone store.
Yeah. Just some random, they fell into this career path job.
I could just see them sitting there behind their little cubicle and their little whatever polo.
Yep.
Just busting the seams of
Dude,
it.
first person that comes to mind is Ronnie Coleman. Yeah. Is a police officer.
Yeah.
You heard the Kevin Hart bit where he's talking about that? People that are big for no reason. He's like, you go to like Verizon or something. This dude's just jacked behind the counter. And every time he tries to answer a call, he breaks his headset. Thanks for holding. What are you big for? You selling cell phones.
What are you big for?
But yeah, Rain O'Neill, one World's Strongest Man, beating Tom Stoltman and Mitchell Hooper.
Yep.
Which I will say the top 10 that were the competitors. Our boy Evan Singleton tore a bicep.
Yep.
I think it was day 2.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, that sucks. Because it's one thing if you go and maybe you don't perform at a high level like you wanted, or if someone else is just better than you but you still did well, but just to go in and get injured, right off the rip, sucks.
And an injury that's going to knock you out of lifting
for a little while.
Yeah.
Was it 6 months? From solid training on that arm.
He's been putting in work too.
That's it. It's like he's been really training for that, and I had really high hopes for him. Like I knew he was going to break top 10 this year. Which actually I think he was 3rd last year.
I think so.
Yeah, I think he was. Either way, I knew he was going to do really well, but then he tore a bicep, so that sucks.
Yep.
But did you
what
watch?
event did he tear the bicep on?
I actually don't know.
Because I was thinking I read a post from him, and it wasn't like it was
The reverse hopscotch.
like it wasn't a stone load or a deadlift. It wasn't
Yeah,
like
I'm
a
trying to
lift
remember
that
what it was,
people
but
normally tear biceps in. I
The
thought
butterfly stroke.
Maybe.
possibly.
But did you see the Flintstone press?
Yeah.
So the Flintstone press is one that almost cost Reno the win
Yeah.
because he got actually I think he took 9th. It might have been 5th or 6th. Either way, he did not do well in that one at all. But then Mitchell Hooper goes for a huge overhead press and almost drops it flat on his face.
Almost kills himself.
That was crazy. And exploded the barrel that they're lifting off of.
Yeah.
And then,
and it's funny too, because when that happened, I was like, that's just an actual barrel.
Yeah. I thought the same thing. I thought it was like a steel reinforced something.
Yeah.
No,
You'd think it'd be a sturdier platform than just a.
it's just a barrel.
Yeah. It's just
You're
like
a sturdy platform.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a barrel.
You're a skinny platform.
Then Lucas Hatton.
Got him. Burn.
It's like what would that be? A diving board, maybe?
That's a
Well, that,
Great Depression.
it's like one of them old spring door stops that you could flick and make it sound like a jaw harp. You know?
Yeah.
We need to learn how to play the jaw harps.
Yeah, you should. Anyways. But Lucas Hatton went for a world record on the overhead press with the Flintstone bar. Out of competition, though, because he was not in the top 10.
No.
But he still set the world record on it.
And does that count as just the overhead press world record?
Yes.
So
I guess. See,
because strongman's weird with that kind of stuff.
yeah, and it kind of gets into the same thing with Eddie Hall's whole thing, which we'll get into a little bit later. But he didn't do it in competition.
Yeah.
So
He did
All
it.
didn't either.
also that.
He did it at a competition.
It did it at a competition.
He didn't do it in.
But see, that's also like I kind of think Thor's weight over bar world record should count because I mean it was at a competition.
I think it does count, but it's a separate.
It doesn't count as a Highland game.
Yes.
But he did it at a Highland Games though, so I feel like it
But he
should
didn't
count.
do any of the other events. He just did the
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, but
But
you
it
know,
is the weight over bar world record.
Yeah. It's a recognized world record, but if you go look at like NASGA or anything else that you know
Easy there, big fella.
anything
Well,
else that we would use, Cabermetrics, heavy athlete. If you go look at those, they're all going to show. I'm primarily amateur, but they're not going to show half Thors.
yeah.
See what else. I think it sucks that it comes down. Like I'm glad Reno won because I think it is a really cool story for Reno to have won. But feel horrible for Tom Stoltman. Tom borderline. I want to say he got robbed so bad because the controversy I've heard about it. If you haven't
Way
seen,
better than the big ones.
is going into the last event.
Going in the last event. Tom
Going into the last event.
I'm with you, brother. I'm 100% with you. I'm a multitasker.
We're going into the last event with you. Let's go. Let's ride.
Going into the last event, Reno was in first. Tom was in second with Mitchell Hooper tied with Tom for second place.
Who could forget?
Yeah. Well, then, so they go in. Tom wins stones, obviously.
Yeah.
So all that had to happen after that was Reno to just do well enough to get points.
Yeah.
And he got just enough points because Mitchell Hooper lost to him by 0.08 seconds.
You won't. That's almost a whole second. D'Artagnan.
Daniel.
Did you say it's almost a whole second?
Yeah.
No, it's not.
It's not 0.8. It's 0.08.
Point-
It's still almost a whole second, dog. A second is not very long, dude. Any bit of a second is almost a whole second.
Well,
In the grand scheme of things,
well, if you want to look at it that way,
we're all just stardust, dog.
according to the
0.92 seconds is pretty quick.
It is quick, but if you're talking about here's a whole
How
yard
many seconds have we been talking about this already?
longer than we should have.
But if you want to talk about that, I mean, like, you know,
128 ounces.
Anyways,
In one load.
so the controversy is people are suggesting that Mitchell Hooper dropped the stone on purpose.
That's what I thought.
The reason that I kind of see their argument is because he dropped the very first stone, the lightest one of the group. Actually, I take that back. Is it the first stone the heaviest? No, it's the lightest
so he
with the tallest platform.
so he dropped it. So
But not dropped it like got on the platform and just didn't make the height. Like he dropped it on his way to the platform.
yeah,
So then he has to repick it and place it. And that made him come in fifth, which put Reno in fourth in stones or third. Either way, I forget what the exact placings are.
So you're saying that he messed that up just so Reno could jump him
And win.
points.
But I don't see why that would happen because there's no beef with anybody. So
But
Did he go before Reno? I haven't.
Who, Mitch Hooper? Yeah, he went before Reno.
How would he know how Reno would do?
That's kind of it. That's why I was like, I don't know.
Checkmate.
yeah, I mean, and,
people.
Because the last two were
Mitch
Tom
Hooper-
Stoltman and Reno Nell were the last two competitors.
and Mitch Hooper isn't
I don't see him
like
He's calculated, and I think that's why people are thinking that is because he's very calculated and specific.
yeah, but it
He
didn't.
calculates to win himself.
Yeah, but it
not
didn't
to
help.
give
Yeah, it
somebody
didn't
else
help
something.
him.
Yeah, that was why I was like, I could see if maybe he really disliked Tom, but to my knowledge, there's nothing going on.
I haven't heard of any other strong men that dislike Tom Stolzman.
How do you dislike Tom Stoltman?
Yeah, like it's like strawberries. Who dislikes strawberries?
I agree with you.
Except for young Caleb and current Shelly. Shelly does not like
Your
strawberries.
stories.
I'm not a big fan.
Give it a couple of weeks, you will be. Promise.
I'm not either.
About 10 weeks, you'll be like, God, give me them strawberries.
Dude, whenever you've got to eat berries because, you just have to, and there's only strawberries, you're like, okay, I guess we're eating strawberries.
Like
and they're going to be the best thing, as Donkey says in Shrek, best thing in the whole planet.
I better hear two duck noises. You got real fast and loose there, buddy.
Here's what I know.
Linda is listening.
Yeah.
Here's what I know is you're not going to listen to this, so it does not matter.
Linda is.
Yeah.
Linda is, yeah.
And she's
So
gonna be like,
Linda will hear duck noises.
she's gonna be like, I expected more out of Caleb.
Well, that's where she was wrong.
And honestly, we all do. But
She was like, I could see that coming from David.
I've got a brand.
what brand is that? All right, thanks for that segue, Dave. Let's move on to the next bit.
Earmuffs, Mom.
So I came across this video of Eddie Hall teaching someone deadlift. Now, not just teaching anybody deadlift. I don't know a lot about this guy.
So you can find it when you're editing.
I don't.
I got to be on you to see the clap.
He just needs to hear.
Whoa.
What's going on around here?
To see the. Never mind.
No, I'm never gonna dance again.
So, anyways, I don't know a lot about this guy, but I know he does mention that he is a junior world record holder in powerlifting, specifically in the deadlift. And so he asks Eddie Hall to critique his deadlift form. So I watched it.
So he has a world record in deadlift, and he's asking Eddie Hall.
Correct.
Who no longer has a world record.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess he's like, well, Eddie Hall's deadlift was heavier than mine, so.
That was
Right.
cool.
So I've watched the video. I'm not going to give my thoughts until we get through
I
it.
am, Alan.
Our boy's been hitting the gym.
I'm Hall's little tough boy.
That's right. My little tough
Eventually, we'll get through this episode.
Hey, I'm ready, man.
I'm ready too, and I'm also kind of tough. Hall's little tough boy.
I swear I'm making you that shirt. Holland's going to have a shirt that just says Holland, and yours is going to say Holland's little tough boy.
Lil with an apostrophe.
Yeah. All right.
We can't wear those in Ghana.
So we're going to get
No,
into it.
We'll do time.
We're going to get into the video.
Let's roll. Roll that
I've been waiting
beautiful.
those videos since I saw Urkel on the TV.
Just roll it. Just roll it.
After finishing up my stiff leg deadlifts, it was time to ask Eddie what he thought of my deadlift form, as well as getting some deadlift tips for you guys. So if you're ready for this, then smash the like button and make sure to subscribe.
What is that?
I'll link the video in the description for everybody.
Young LA, make sure you use code Nate. The Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah.
drop went live recently.
I didn't
If
expect
there's
him to talk
anything
like a chimney
left, make sure
sweep.
you grab it. If not, there'll be more sick drops coming. And yeah, appreciate you guys for all the support.
A spoonful of sugar.
I'm with the world's strongest man. Do I say
It's
code?
Jolly.
Hold on.
With Mary.
What are we doing?
Well, that's a massive debate.
That's a political question.
I personally would say current until someone does it in a competition.
In a competition.
It's current.
Okay, to be non-controversial,
That a fruit?
the first man in history to deadlift half a ton. That's unarguable.
I'll give him that.
Only.
Yeah.
We're getting controversial with this. I like it. So, what we're going to be doing today is, well, I'm somewhat of a world record holder myself. I'm the junior 93 kg deadlift world record holder. So, I compete in raw tested powerlifting. Eddie competed in strongman. So they have very different rules, different equipment, different setups. So we're going to be comparing the two.
Different
I'm going to be showing Eddie
steroids.
my form, getting his critique on it, and then Eddie's
True.
going to show me what he would do, and I can add my little 2 pence in there. So, you ready?
Are you going to show me your form?
We'll go for it.
Oh,
We'll go for
2
it.
pence.
Let's get it.
First of all, even on lightweights, pretty much, I always use a belt.
Okay.
I've got like a little intercostal muscle injury
That's the
that I've
orange
had since I
belt?
was like 16. I was
red.
lifting without a belt one time, and then I kind of felt it go, and then for about 6 months, even when, like sometimes when I was breathing, I could feel it.
You pause it real
You
quick,
went
Al.
on-
The muscles in my ribs,
Yeah.
I think they're just weak.
Wow, okay.
So if I do anything beltless, it's not good.
Okay.
So
So what do you think about beltless versus belted
Okay.
deadlifts?
I think to a point, you're better off going beltless
Yeah.
because if all you're used to is bracing against a belt, you're cutting out part of your core strength. I mean, there's core strength potential that you're not reaching.
Yeah, see, because I thought about that the other day. I think once this cuts over and I start trying to build back my deadlift, I think I'm going to train the first whole block without a belt.
Yeah, I usually even now I'll go up to I'll go to 400 or so without putting a belt on. Then over that I'll put the belt on.
And that's what
Yeah,
I've
me
done.
too.
That's what I've done prior. But I think I'm
You're
going
going
to
to try to go completely beltless.
at least for the first mesocycle. I want to go give it a good run to build solid core back.
Well, Eddie went with that when he was training for the deadlift world record. He went without a belt for a long time.
And because I think it's necessary, maybe not. I mean, he's obviously got a strong enough core because he's obviously an experienced deadlifter. But my thought is, coming from where I'm at now to trying to build back a deadlift, I really think building a solid core before I just throw a belt on.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go pantsless altogether. I think.
That too.
because you don't want the belt to be a crutch.
Yeah.
You know,
And I think I might have done that to myself in my prior training.
yeah,
is
and I think some equipped lifters do that.
Oh,
Well, it ends
100%.
up- The shirt ends up being a crutch or the squat suit or whatever,
Yep.
and that's how injuries happen.
And I think it's all because of like the stigma that if you deadlift you're going to hurt your back. So people always say you need to have a belt, you're going to hurt yourself.
Yeah.
When really I think it's kind of the opposite. If you use a belt too much, you're going to hurt yourself.
Yeah.
Because you find yourself in a situation where you're at a Scottish festival and there's a set of lifting stones and you don't have a belt.
Right, and your core isn't used to holding yourself without being able to press against the belt. Yeah.
I tend to forget a belt.
We know.
But Alan's built different.
Across America, countless people can't access the health care they desperately need. At Remote Area Medical, we believe everyone deserves quality care. That's why we offer free dental, vision, and medical services at mobile pop-up clinics nationwide. Just compassionate care from volunteer professionals. Your tax-deductible donation makes these clinics possible, changing lives and creating healthier communities. Join us today in bringing essential health care to those in need at ramusa.org.
All right, you can hit play, please.
belt.
Belt on. Fair enough.
This is my setup. So, approach the bar. I usually go feet about shoulder width. I've gained a little weight now, so the shoulder width is a little bit wider. And generally the bar over my mid-foot kind of area. Just so that when I go down, my shins then touch the bar. Versus if I started like this, then they're already kind of here. So that's kind of how I start. Mid-foot, come down. I do a mixed grip because, as I said, with raw powerlifting, it's you can't use straps, so mixed grip is the best, other than hook grip for keeping your grip. But hook grip is a bit more technical, and your thumbs are not gonna like you. Have you ever
I have tried. It's horrible. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people they'll hook for their top sets, but then use straps for their back off. Because like a set of 8 hooks, yeah. Over under, you want your hands as close to your legs as possible. Like minimize the distance from your hands because that's more of like a snatch grip. It just makes it harder. So hands here, and then when I start the
Jerry
deadlift,
Pritchett loves the
I
snatch
like
grip
to
deadlift, by the
drive
way.
my legs into the ground.
Yeah.
That sounds nasty.
Well, you know, it kind of turns it into a deficit deadlift.
Almost.
And then from here, it's like a hinge. So,
Okay, for one, it's not like a hinge. It's literally a hinge.
It is a hinge movement.
what do you think?
I mean, Luke. I mean, if I were to like, if you paid me to deadlift coach you, I would say that was shit.
You go and pause it.
You want the fucking
So, I mean, what he just said was like if you open a book, any book that's like how to deadlift, those are step by step exactly the instructions that you would get. Foot placement, hand placement, everything. Yeah, and then they just crapped on
So what?
it.
So before we can hear what Eddie says is trash about it, what do you think? You think it's a good deadlift form, or you think?
That's basically how I set up.
I was about to say. I mean, I think he puts more thought into his setup than I typically do.
Yeah,
But overall, I didn't see anything wrong.
because you
Not
know
enough to say that it's trash.
because you know
We know.
if you place it midfoot, which is what they say to do, and they say for that reason, so when you bend down and grab the bar, your shins are just touching. Well, if you're too close, when you bend down and touch the bar, your shins roll the bar forward to the correct spot. So it's not that big of a deal,
I agree.
you know. But I mean, I didn't hear anything wrong with that.
I didn't either.
setup.
And I think it really comes down to where are you at in training and like what feels best for you.
Right.
And like if you watch Brian Shaw deadlift, you ever watched him explain his deadlift form?
Yeah, like his stance is so wide.
And he even says that. He's like, because I'm a bigger guy, that if I don't take a wider stance, I can't. So he's like sumo style deadlifting, but conventional.
Yeah.
Almost. Like it's really crazy. But all right, let's see why Eddie thinks it's trash.
truth.
What was bad about it?
I think the bar is too much over your toes.
Too much over my toes.
Yeah. Do you get any lower back pain at all?
Not from deadlifting.
No?
Not from deadlifting.
And then I would say your stance is actually quite narrow.
But I'm not that wide in here. So you would go wider.
I would go wider, yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
See, I don't.
Yeah, definitely.
No,
And
I don't know if I
This is
agree with
good.
the
This is
going
good.
wider
your
stance.
grip is too narrow. Like you say, I think because your
His grip
stance
is too narrow.
Your grip is too narrow. And you're right in what you say is the wider you have it, the shorter you're making
From
that
your
distance.
legs.
Yeah,
From your
yeah.
legs.
Yes.
Like if wherever your legs
But it's the
are,
longer
your
the
hands should be
pool
right
is.
by them. Not
Yes.
much further
I
wider.
agree.
Yeah.
100% agree. But if your stance is too narrow, then your hands are too narrow.
Uh-huh.
And you're actually restricting yourself in from the knees upwards. Because if your hands are too narrow, all this meaty flesh, your lats and everything, is going to stop you getting that lockout power. Whereas you just a little bit wider, it gets rid of all that restriction.
Only if you have a
When
wide
you go
back.
wide, see that's the thing. That's the thing. This is good because
Taylor's
there's
no
different
problem with that.
approaches to it. When I set up, a lot of it is so you have like where you
Right,
feel
so pause it real
strongest,
quick,
and then you
please.
have like the
So initially, I was like you. This makes zero sense
Yeah.
on what we're talking about. However, if you look at it a little more from Eddie Hall's perspective, whenever you're looking at deadlifting 500 kilos,
Yeah.
and now you have to worry about things like your lats are so big that if you are in a narrower grip, your giant arms are not going to push past your giant lats.
Been there.
So
And I wonder too if widening your arms maybe lets you activate your lats a little more.
And that's why I'm thinking, because initially I was like you, I was like, I think this is 100% wrong. And I think Eddie Hall just has really good coaches, but doesn't actually know anything. That was my initial thought. And I really think I was wrong because obviously I've never lifted nearly
Yeah.
as much as he has.
But at the other thing too, though, with the stance, the width of the stance, like that really just depends on where you're the strongest.
And I agree because
You know?
I'm like, after I watched Brian Shaw's video on his deadlift, I was like, okay, he's 6'9", I'm 6'6". I widened my stance, and all it really did was create hip mobility problems for me. 'Cause now I found like my hips are getting more stiff,
Yeah.
which is also like, that's why I've had to widen my squat, is because my hips were just weaker, and then that entailed helped my deadlift. But still, I think it depends on where you're at. Like this guy deadlifting, however, 6, 7, 800 pounds is way different.
Yeah. I wonder does he ever say how much his?
If
world
he does, I
record
don't
is?
remember what it was.
I just wondered how much more he deadlifts than I do.
I don't know.
I bet not that much.
Probably not. Hit it, Alan.
The optimal leverages for the lift. So a lot of people feel about strongest when they're around here, but the bigger you get, generally, you need to go wider in order to accommodate for that.
I feel like I'm watching.
But I don't feel like
I'm watching a Guy Ritchie movie.
If you get what I mean? Because I still feel strong even here. I've moved it ever so slightly wider, but when I'm here, that feels about.
Would you say that's? I
Right
would
for
say
me.
you're about an inch either side short.
You think an
Of
inch?
shoulder, yeah. I think you need to be an inch wider.
You would
each
go an
side.
inch wider.
I would.
It's interesting. Let's swap to you showing me how you set up for deadlift.
Okay.
Look at this jack dude over on the right. Look at that.
I would wear.
It's a really
shoes,
aggressive
not
filling little
Crocs.
haircut he's rocking.
Vans or socks, grip socks is probably my preferred. So the closer you are to the ground.
Unless you're
and
in
also,
IPF, you can't
the
wear
more-
socks. You have to
more
have shoes.
concrete you are to the floor, the more power you get out. So I find even in thin-soled shoes like
Is
that,
that Avancus?
yeah, I think you're not as connected with the earth, and I think that's a big thing with deadlifting. You need to be as connected with the earth as you
Sounds a little
possibly
hippie.
can. So I would.
Yeah.
As little as I deadlift, I still feel a big difference if I'm wearing like my Adidas or my Vans. I find it way easier just like flat, nothing shoes.
100%.
My shin would be on those lines, and that is pretty much a little bit wider. So I'd say shoulder width. You got to think of that ball point in your shoulder plus an inch. That's what I always say. So when you say shoulder width, I always say shoulder width plus an inch. So that ball in your shoulder plus an inch, that's where you want to be. Now you had the bar over your toes almost, like if
I think
that's
it's
your
neat.
toes,
They're using freedom units over there.
and your knuckles there, you were just behind the knuckles of your toes.
I thought I was more here over the midfoot.
Yeah, okay, I'd agree with that. But would you say that's the middle of your foot? So you've got your heel and your toe.
Yeah.
Would you say it's in the middle of your foot?
I feel like my
Well, when
shin's
I
in the
do it,
way.
I'm looking
Yeah.
about from here. I'd say I usually like to have it about 2 inches from here, from like where my shins are, because so this is different. Eddie,
I'm gonna drag
when
it
he
up
was
my
lifting
shins if it's
with
too heavy.
strongman, you're in a suit. The suit almost makes it harder to get into position when
Yeah.
you have to roll yourself into position.
Yeah.
And you would roll the bar to you and then lift.
Yeah.
Whereas I compete in raw powerlifting. So when I come up to the bar, if I start with it touching my shins, then I can't sink my knees in. If I do, then it's gonna push the bar out in front of me. That's why I start with it here, because then when I
Pause that,
initiate
Alan.
like this,
So when he's talking about pushing his knees forward, that's just he should already be starting in that position. Like you don't need to push your knees forward if you're in the right. Like I can't remember what video it was, but it makes a lot of sense. It's the perfect deadlift position for you is like if you're doing a heavy triple or a heavy 5, the starting position of your second rep.
I agree.
So where you set it down and start to pull back on your second rep, that's where you should start. Your knees should already be forward.
Yep.
So like I don't agree with that.
What if you've never done more than one rep?
I don't know.
We all know you've done more than one rep. We synced it.
We synced it.
But as far as to go back to the being grounded, I don't know.
That's for me. I'm in the shower.
I don't know where I stand on with that because I've heard a lot of people. Honestly, I think it's another topic that Liver King has really just kind of tainted.
Yeah.
Is being
taint.
is being grounded.
Yeah.
And at least that's what I think of as Liver King always talking about being grounded and doing weird stuff.
I think of Alan barefoot lifting the stones.
There's that.
He was grounded.
I think he got more grounded because of that.
Alan grounded the stones.
Got that right. But I think it's just one of the things. Like I think if it's something that kind of triggers you to help you lift, I guess it helps. I don't know.
If it's a mental cue or whatever, then go for it. But I like.
I'm just thinking of archaeologists finding Alan's footprints in the middle of that field in a few thousand years. what
Them taking a plaster cast of
you just
them.
know, but you just see 2 big feet and then 2 giant round indentions in the
This beast would live.
But they're not next to each other. They're like this.
Looks like he was like Randy Marsh or that episode of South Park.
I was just trying to think, what would his Latin name be?
Old biggest bollocks.
What would I come out to? What, 1,100 pounds?
We don't come out on this podcast, dude.
Play the video.
Oh, that's something to say.
Nah, I'll wait.
then it's touching the bar. Because I think we're both
Are you allowed to roll the bar in powerlifting?
You are, but I personally
actually didn't know that.
I wouldn't roll the bar because there's variance there. You could roll it not to where you want it, but I understand with yours, you guys kind of need to roll the bar in order to lock in that position with a suit on.
So my opinion is the toe and the heel of the foot, right? Yours is about here. Would you agree? Bit more that way?
No, like here, about there. Yeah.
You'd be there.
Yeah.
Right. So that's just behind the knuckles on your toes. Yeah. When you do a deficit on a deadlift.
Yeah.
Right.
How long are his toes?
I was just thinking that.
Lowered it down to the
Got
floor,
monkey feet.
Where do you think that bar is landing? There or there?
Here.
It's like what you were saying.
Mine is there when I start the lift. This is when.
So why do you have it here then?
So I can shift my legs into
So I can
it
what?
rather than. So some people
confused.
just start
So
from here
you're saying
and
when you
lift.
start
He's just
pulling,
like
the
he's
bar
Fortnite
moves.
dancing.
When I start pulling, it's the same place. It's at my shin.
It's in the gritty.
It can't go past there because your shin's in.
Because when I looked from the side, it looked as though you were pulling just behind the knuckles in your toes. You should
You know,
pull
a lot of
away from
people
the center of your foot. and
pull
you would definitely
with the
not
bar
center
too far
of your
out in
foot.
front of them.
So in my opinion, and you're talking
Alex is the
0.1
first
of a
one that comes to
decimal,
mind.
This is going to make a difference, 0.1%. But when you get in the realms of 500 kilo, that 0.1% is 5 kilo. You know, it's fucking a lot. I would always turn to the side. So I've got my width, I've got my feet planted. I'd always turn to the flat side, and the bar would be in the middle of my foot. So it wouldn't be over my toes or anything. It'd be toe to heel. It'd be bang in the fucking middle. Now, to you, that probably looks way too close, doesn't it?
For how I lift, it would be, but we lift differently.
But when you lift, would you say that's where it comes
Eddie's
from?
like, you
when
lift
when I make
incorrectly,
contact with the bar,
young
that's where it
Padawan.
is.
Right, so that's where it needs to be. So before we're using suits, this is our deadlift. And I grip the bar a
Look how
little bit
wide.
wider than your legs, and there's a reason for that. I'll get to that.
I feel like that's a
The bar won't
deficit
move
deadlift
any
almost.
direction, and all I do is drop my hips until the shins touch the bar. The second the shin touches the bar, I know that's the perfect spot.
Yeah.
And
It always bugs me when people drop a
the hairs on your
deadlift the
fucking
top
shin
like
touch
that.
bar, that's when you need to be exploding. From the sidelines.
I mean, like, I don't care that it doesn't matter there, but like in competition, it's so ingrained in powerlifting
Oh, yeah.
that it irks me all the time.
Okay, so that is not the middle of your foot.
See, he's a powerlifter. He said it. He said it down.
Okay, yeah.
It's not. Is
I
it?
get what he's saying though. He is rolling it back
And then when you start
and pulling it to him.
It's actually look, it's right over the knuckles
See?
on your toes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And see, it doesn't touch his shins until
it's already
up just below his knee.
100%. But you
That was another one of those moments that I had to check myself on because I was like, all right, Eddie's being a little bit too, I think he's just wanting to be right.
Yeah.
And then but then whenever he did that, I was like, oh, he's actually spot on.
Yeah, he's too far out in front.
Yeah, he's way out front. I was like, okay, well, I was wrong again.
Yeah. See, now I'm even more sure that guy doesn't deadlift that much more than me.
But
He's wearing a Youngblood shirt too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I bet I beat him.
Across America, countless people can't access the health care they desperately need. At Remote Area Medical, we believe everyone deserves quality care. That's why we offer free dental, vision, and medical services at mobile pop-up clinics nationwide. Just compassionate care from volunteer professionals. Your tax-deductible donation makes these clinics possible, changing lives and creating healthier communities. Join us today in bringing essential health care to those in need at ramusa.org.
yeah, but
Not Eddie, the young LA guy.
yeah, but overall though, like I think immediately my thought was that Eddie's being too nitpicky and all this stuff, but then you start to think,
You're deadlifting 1,000 pounds.
yeah, whenever you're going to, especially when you're the first person to do it, you don't know what it takes to do it.
Yeah, every single part better be. It's like going to space. Everything's got to be right.
Yep.
You know.
Because if you're going to be the first
Not if
one
you're
to
Boeing. Thanks, folks.
anyways,
Too soon.
but that's my only argument for Half Thor doing it, for one, it being easier and all that, is one, Half Thor is built to deadlift, but also once you see it done and you know it's possible, it's much easier to train for at that point.
Yeah.
But
You know, and a lot of Eddie's training was on video, so you could kind of see what he was doing leading up to it. You know.
yep. And whenever you look at all the stuff that he went through to get there, like he did the whole hypnosis, seeing a therapist, all the stuff to get there.
Yeah.
And then you think, oh, that's crazy. Why would you do that to do that? But no one's done it before.
Yes, it's to do something that some people thought was impossible.
And so he's
the
trying
human body's not capable of that.
Yeah. So you're doing anything you can to get that edge to do that.
Did you hear remember the thing that they were looking on a protocol to give him adrenaline before the lift. But he had gained so much weight and his heart and stuff was in such bad shape that they're like, it'll kill you if we do this.
Yeah. I think it was before in the 2017 that he won World's Strongest Man. I think he had actually went to the hospital like a month or two prior and almost missed World's Strongest Man because his heart was in bad shape because he'd put on so much weight.
Yeah.
He was like, what, 440?
Yeah. And
at 6'2".
Yeah, at 6'2". Like, he's a big guy, but I mean, 440 at 6'2" is not 440 at 6'9".
No, it's not at all.
All right, let's see what the rest of this is.
You could be better.
The reason why I don't go closer is because I'm quite like an explosive lifter. Everyone's like different kind of muscle fiber types, right?
I feel
So
like
some
now
people
he's
go
just
down
trying to be right.
And they start and they lift
I agree.
from here.
Yeah.
Whereas I start and then I shift my legs back and then wedge in. But I feel like when I do that, when I come in and I slam in, it's still touching my shins.
Yeah,
And
no.
sometimes you get it wrong. Sometimes you get it wrong and you're too far away. I used to deadlift like that, but because of my like leverages, I would end up stiff legging it basically. Because if you see how long my arms are, right? If I go from here, this is basically a stiff leg deadlift.
Now
He was wider in that
was a good
previous
form.
But that's not
That was fucking perfect form. That was in the middle of your foot.
But
All he had to do was sink his hips.
Yeah.
Right? Just 1 second. Come on. Hear me out. Hear me out. So when that goes from the front of your foot, and you lift it,
He's right.
right, you're coming backwards. So it's not going in a perfect A to B motion, it's going slightly towards you. So if you want 100% efficiency, you should go A to B. It shouldn't go A, B,
But
C.
this is not where I feel the strongest. Here, my off the floor power is not there compared to here because I can't use my quads as much when I'm in that position.
Yeah.
But I do know what you're saying, and this is why it's good because I like that Eddie didn't sugarcoat.
I don't think he likes it at all.
Yeah, because like just try it.
I know
Yeah.
people might
You can
look at
pause
me
it real
like,
quick.
Obviously, got the junior one.
Just try it and see how it feels.
He's acting
Yeah.
like he doesn't like it.
Yeah. But I mean, I think, you may feel it's another thing. But I think Eddie mentions it here in a minute. It's kind of like bench pressing wide grip versus narrow grip. Like everybody out of the gate, your triceps are good because you use your triceps all day.
Yeah.
Rarely do you use this, like your pec major all the way out here for this huge stretch. But if you were to take a month or two and bench wide grip, you're going to be way stronger in the end of it. But no one wants to do that. And I think it's a similar thing is because you think, I feel better here. Well, yeah, think of how much stronger you could be if you did it at a more advantageous spot. And so I just don't think he wants to admit that. I also just don't think he wants to be wrong.
Like, as little as
I
I,
need to start bitching wider then.
It wouldn't hurt.
because as little as I know, I can still see that when the way he's setting up, he's still like negating his entire setup and going to what Eddie's trying to tell him just to start with because he is coming back towards himself quite a bit. He's running a slope.
Even Alan Thrall did a video talking about it, saying that people are worried about banging up their shins on deadlifts, which, I mean, it's going to happen. You're not always going to have a perfect straight line.
Yeah.
But if you do what Eddie's saying, you're never going to hit your shins because that straight line is going to miss your legs.
Yeah.
But if you do it the way he's doing it, which granted, whenever you're a strong man and you're dragging it up your shins because you're lifting an ungodly amount of weight. So
yeah. And here's the thing. I mean, if it's between getting a skint shin or breaking a world record, I'm going to skin my shins.
100%.
I mean,
100%.
quit being a wuss.
That's actually what Ray O'Neill said going into the last event. They said, you're going up against Tom in the Stones, and he's going to win Stones.
Yeah.
Everybody knows he's going to win the Atlas Stones. And Rayno said, I got to give it all it's got. It's what I got to do.
Yeah.
That was it. I was like, yeah.
To Eddie's point earlier, though, even just world record, but that guy competes. So at that level, like he's probably reaching pretty close to the potential of his mass and stuff.
Exactly.
Right now. Why wouldn't you try something to get that extra 1%?
Exactly.
Like you're going to be doing stuff like that because you're not going to get much more strength gains and stuff at your weight. You're going to put on weight and you change class. Like
exactly.
Try it.
And I think that's what Eddie's trying to get a point across here is, yeah, you're really good doing it your way.
Now find the little.
But yeah, you could be better.
Yeah.
All right. I think there's just a little bit more left on here and we can move on.
world record, my deadlift must be perfect. But A, people are going to have different opinions on what is perfect form and what isn't. And B, nobody's form is really perfect. So
Except
there's
Eddie's.
always room for improvement. And
Holland,
you
I
can
think you got a
always
perfect form.
take things
thank
from
you.
other people, especially people who have been successful in what you're trying to do, and apply that to what you're doing.
Do you not think, though, if you applied that wider stance and tried that middle of the foot motion, you could adapt to it, maybe get a little
Well, the thing
stronger
is-
and a little better?
But the thing
what you're
is-
talking about,
I think you could.
I used to deadlift. I'll put a video on the screen. I used to deadlift almost precisely like that, wider and
Looks like you
in
couldn't
that
find the
position.
video, huh?
However,
So
you'll
maybe
see
it's full of-
with my leverages, that was basically a stiff leg deadlift, and my off the floor power was not the same.
Okay.
So that's how I've kind of adapted my form, and how my coach kind of adapted my form to my body type. If you see my arms, they essentially touch my knees when I'm standing up.
Wish my arms were that
if we
long.
reach
Yeah,
out-
so you come quite a bit lower than me.
yeah,
But you're shorter.
reach out. with your arms.
Usually,
My arms are lower
You're
than
quite a few
Yeah.
yours when we're
Arms,
standing
yeah.
beside
taller
each
than
other.
me, but our arms are
your arms are
similar.
pretty much the same length.
Yeah.
So you're right.
He's
you've
rolling
got
his
very
shoulder
long-
Yeah.
I was about to say,
What
even
would
whenever
you
he was
say
doing that,
your
saying my
best
hands touch my knees, he's
exercise
leaning.
was?
Leg
Look,
press.
mine said
Oh,
my
so this is
ankle.
interesting.
Why would you say that?
Because it is essentially
They said
a
leg press is
That's
big
interesting.
factor.
You think about it, you grip that bar,
Yeah.
and you are leg pressing the earth away from you.
Yeah.
I've heard that cue a
No, I
lot.
get that.
Deadlift is, it's a leg press.
I train with actually a bit more emphasis on squats than I do on deadlift. And that's because the squat carries over more to the deadlift than the deadlift carries over to the squat, if that makes
Yeah, I
sense.
agree with that.
And the deadlifts are really fatiguing. So we were saying about leg press transferring over to deadlifts. I feel a similar thing with like squats.
Yeah.
Because I'm a full power lifter, so we're doing SVD.
I think he does
I put,
powerlifting.
it's
I
more
think he
like
does
60-40
powerlifting.
emphasis into squats because I know that if I'm getting my, if I'm
I think he does
continuing to
full
increase my
power
squat,
powerlifting
increase as
is-
well, versus the
I'm gonna Google it later.
Precisely the same.
I would say for me, of the squat motion, I'm not sure how it would fit in with your regime, but safety bar squats,
I like safety bar.
I found really helped the
This is
lower
interesting.
erector strength in your back.
Yeah.
100%.
When I first started doing them, my back was sore for like days because
That.
it's like an ultra high bar. Because high bar is like here, but then with a safety bar, because you have the cushion,
Yeah.
it's like here. And then I would find it hard just like keeping myself upright. That would be at the beginning. I was doing it humbled me so much. I was doing such lightweight.
All right,
and,
I think we're
just
done
keeping
with
myself
that.
Upright was
And that's what
We're done with that video, man.
Another thing
Thank
was,
you.
remember that squat video, and they were talking about making people be
Yep.
completely upright. That's not necessarily,
If you're doing high bar, sure.
yeah,
But
like it's okay to hinge forward a little on your squats.
see, and
Probably
that was another point. Like by this point in the video, I'd already kind of checked myself and realized I don't know as much as I think I do. So whenever he said safety bar squat, before he explained, I was like, that's stupid.
You're like, I hate those.
Well, because if you think about it, like the predominant muscle group for a safety bar squat is quads.
Yeah, it's a quad dominant. Yeah,
But what's the secondary muscle?
yeah, your erectors. Yeah, yeah.
So I was like, and so then whenever he explained that, I was like, dang, dude, he's like spot on with that
Yeah.
one.
Maybe that's why he deadlifted 1,000.
And then it's whenever he mentioned that it would like his mid back and upper back. I was like, dude, whenever I first started safety bar squats, it would tear my back up because I just felt like I couldn't, like I'm fighting to keep it upright, and it just killed me.
Yep.
And I was like, 100% that makes sense.
Yep.
I don't know why I never put two and two together on that one.
You know, I didn't think that I was going to agree with Eddie.
That's what I'm
on
saying.
This many points, and disagree with him on that
Yep.
many points, because his what he says or his setup is basically
Mhm.
how I set up.
Yep.
You know, but the actual commission of the lift is different, though.
See, and that's why I wanted to show this video and talk about it, was because that was my initial thought. Like I had saw a very short clip on TikTok first, and I was like, oh, I've got to watch the rest of this.
Yeah.
You know, I fell for the hook of the TikTok, but either way, but I was like, I'm watching the video thinking I'm going to agree with the power lifter,
Yeah.
because strongman, like great deadlifters, obviously, but they're not known for perfect form. They're known for just move the weight.
Yeah, because they're allowed to hitch and
Exactly.
ramp and all that stuff. Yeah.
So I went into that thinking I'm going to agree with the power lifter. Turns out I almost disagree with him on almost everything.
Yeah. Hey, and I looked it up. His world record is 793 pounds, which is 68 more pounds than my all-time best. So
Pretty stout.
he doesn't lift that much more than me.
You said 796?
793.
793. That's 7 pounds less than what my PR is going to be.
Yeah.
Calling my shots.
Out of the way.
From the outside looking in, from somebody who puts no thought into this stuff besides, hey, don't mess your back up. Everything Eddie Hall says makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's...
But also, I don't remember Eddie ever having a training injury. Like, he tore his bicep wrestling with somebody on doing a YouTube video or something. But, like, I don't remember any training injuries.
No.
And if you're working up to 1,000-pound deadlift...
He tore a bicep, but I think a lot of his injuries that he's had came after he quit strongman.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Or retired from strongman, but yeah.
Yeah, so he may be onto something.
I mean, because I know a lot of people, like you look at people like Mitch Hooper, who is very obviously like very calculated, like we talked about. Like, you know they're intelligent and they think everything through.
Yeah.
But Eddie Hall, you know he's smart. Like, it's not like I'm saying he's dumb.
Yeah, but he comes across more as just a meathead.
Yeah, he's more of a meathead, more of a jokester. You don't expect him to have actual knowledge.
Yeah.
Like, you expect him to
like
walk in.
actual legitimate reasons why
you
he's doing
expect him to
something.
just walk in here and say, this is what you do because it works.
Yeah.
Every one of this guy's defenses, too, is like, my specific body, bruv.
Yeah.
It's like everything Eddie Hall is saying is just straight up, has nothing to do with build,
Yep.
weight, none of that. It's just plain physical mechanics.
Which is another thing of powerlifters that I've noticed, including myself. I do this all the time, is you will find whatever point that you are wrong on, whether it be your weakest lift or just
Like, that's the hill you try to die on.
yeah. Like me with bench. Every time I'm like, oh, your bench sucks. Look at my arms.
Yeah.
I know good and well there's people like, Thor, Brian Shaw, who can bench press 500 and don't even bench press, and they got longer arms than I do.
Yeah.
But like, it's just kind of a power lifter thing to go for is, this is why I'm not good at this because of this.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I got.
It's something that I can't change.
Yeah. Rather than changing your perspective a little bit.
Yeah.
Like,
Why is the bar so far in front of you? My arms, bruv. They come past my knee.
yeah. Whenever, like, I like Eddie's point here of what, like, I don't know where you're at in your training, but what would happen if you tried this for a couple months?
Yeah.
Like, you said you used to do it. There's a reason you used to do it.
Yeah.
Because that was your
At the end
natural.
of the day, all he's saying is move the bar in a straight line.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
the shortest path between two distances is a straight line.
And also adding that even if he chooses to deadlift the original way, adding that can only help him.
Right.
It's like you're talking about with triceps, and it can only help.
Yep.
It's like Kyle, he chip programs conventional deadlifts as part of his workout because it's going to help his
100%.
sumo deadlift. I mean, so either way, you're not going to lose by trying the alternate.
And I agree. And like, given that he's put, like he said he's put on some weight, I would say that he's in off season right now.
Yeah.
What's it going to hurt you in off season?
Right.
To try it, just month, 2 months. Like you'll see enough of an impact to know, should I stop or should I start?
Yeah.
I think even without pushing it to like injury weight, you'll feel a difference. You'll be like, oh, this is a little bit easier. Like this weight used to feel like this, and it didn't quite.
Yeah, because it doesn't have to be too heavy, even when you're like warming up, to know that you've misgrooved, and you're like, oh wait, that was way too out in front, or that was, I'm like,
we've all done that.
Yeah, and you feel it immediately. You're like, oh, that wasn't right. I wasn't. Yeah,
that's what I've always said. I know by the time I get the bar halfway up my shins, I know if I'm going to finish this lift or not.
Yeah.
Because I just know how it feels between there and there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I went into this video fully expecting to think Eddie was a kook. And turns out I agree with everything he said.
I'm glad I didn't watch this ahead of time because you told me about this video.
Yep.
And
So yeah, I think everybody could benefit from a change of perspective. Because again, you look at strongman and you think deadlifting is just ramping.
Yeah.
And I do not like ramping except for circumstances as in setting a world record or winning your competition.
Yep.
And so whenever you think strongman, you just think of that guy that's ego lifting in the gym, ramping.
Yeah. I don't think you should ever be ramping it in a training.
I 100% agree. Unless the only way I can think of that it's okay.
What's ramping?
Well, have you seen those guys that do a deadlift and they lean back and sit it on their legs and then pull it up their legs?
Yeah.
That's ramping. Or more commonly known as hitching.
Yeah, your legs aren't allowed to take the weight of the bar.
Mm-mm. And there's a lot of guys that will like almost sit down, and it's just fully resting on their quads.
Instead of pulling up their quads, they're rolling it up and then standing up with it.
Basically, yeah.
Basically,
yeah.
And powerlifting, it's 100% a no-go.
Yeah, and you can do that in strongman, but at the same time, though, like that is, you're better off.
Yeah.
Only doing that if that's the only way you're going to get it for a competition win or for a record or whatever. And you see people training that way with like sub-maximal weight, and they're just ramping every rep.
Yeah, you see them doing their reps, and then even even if you do fine the first couple, your last two still shouldn't be like that.
Yeah.
And the only time I can think of in a gym setting or in a training setting is if you're going for that new 1 rep max.
Yeah.
Because and to me, that falls in the category of competition, world record, whatever your goal is. Like if you're trying to hit your goal, yes. Yeah. If you were just training to get there, no, don't do it. On that note, I think it's a great time for ads.
Yeah. Alan, throw something at Caleb.
Quick, while he's not ready.
Oh, good God. Sorry. Throwing freaking lasers over here.
Man,
don't apologize for your masculinity.
That
Alan.
was on a rope, dude.
That's the kind of toss that sends a sheaf back 32 feet, buddy. You should have been ready for it.
That's a lot lighter than a heavyweight for distance.
That was a good catch, though, Caleb.
Yeah, it was all right.
Dude.
I wish you hadn't screamed like a girl. It would have been like
Put the paws on them, dude. Anyways, I just realized I've never done this one.
What?
This is always one I kick to you. Oh. Anyways, Zone Smelling Salts. Use code TIPP.
We usually huff them all by the time they get to.
Yeah, usually I'm just kind of over here on my lonely island watching y'all smell all the salts.
You're catching a
Yeah,
second.
speaking of getting back,
Hold on.
I don't want them after your nose has been in. We got another one.
We actually don't. God, that's no good. I love these. And you can too. Go to zonesmellingsalts.com, use code TIP, and get the Bear Down series.
TIPP.
Here, sniff the Caleb out of those before I rip them.
TIPP. Hey, Lisa, you want to smell these? Come here and get on camera and smell these for the first time.
It's kind of a in-studio requirement.
Yeah. There's actually an empty chair over here, coincidentally.
I can't believe you handed me something and you want to be as seriously get through it that says advanced organ support.
Can you sniff that?
Smells like hamster bedding.
I don't know if that will, but this will support your organ.
Oh, your organ will need some support after it.
Oh,
NutriFit Regenesis Advanced Organ Support, 150 capsules, 30 servings. I've never had these. They say they're awesome, but that's beside the point. NutriFit, they've got a lot of other great stuff that I have tried. Their pre-workout's pretty good. Doesn't give you candy belly.
I got to order some more creatine.
He's got to order some more creatine. Their creatine also dissolves in water, unlike the Walmart brand.
What code are you going to use at checkout, though, Alan?
Caleb C. Day.
I'm glad he said that because I was about to say the wrong one. Caleb C. Day on NutriFit.
It was like a test. I had to catch myself. I was fixing to say TIPP.
But it's not TIPP. It's Caleb C. Day. CALEB CDAY. No spaces.
get in there.
Every time I smell these in my head, I just hear Rod Stewart. Some guys have all the luck. I'm not quite sure why.
Every time you smell them, you look like an abused dog that's coming back from war. You're a little bit timid at first. Like,
I've got Balto in my heart, dude. Bringing in vaccines. Dude, Balto, problematic now. I think Balto worked for Fauci.
So anyways, none of us are currently wearing it, but if you would like to get your own podcast merch, go to Etsy, type in the Iron Palace Podcast, or just search Daydream Designs, and you will come to our merch store. If you're on YouTube or anywhere else, you can also, if you can't remember all that and just want to do a one-click and get there, the link will be in the description.
Balto working for Big Pharma is now just going to crack me up for a week. That sounds like a real legitimate Alex Jones story. got papers on my desk. Turns out Balto worked for Big Pharma the whole time.
We have one more.
He was carrying drugs and turned the frogs gay.
It's not that one.
Hossware.
There it is.
Yeah, so if you don't
He worked for the Clinton Foundation.
No, they do not. They do not.
The Hossware boys are not associated with the Clintons at all. So if you don't buy any shirts from us, buy them from Hosswear. Go to hosswear.com, get you a thick shirt or a power belly shirt. Use code TIPP with them and get a big discount and help the channel.
That's it.
Got through those pretty well.
Yeah, that's a first
considering
time.
for us at least.
I got pictures of Balto at Bohemian Grove.
What time are we at, Alan?
Minute 12.
He worships Moloch. Sacrifice babies.
Minute or hour 12.
I was like, minute. So, boys, what do you want to talk about?
I'm kind of over it.
So did you know Balto gets the credit for bringing the vaccines into town?
But when I do it, it's drug smuggling.
But the lead dog that actually covered the longest distance of
was
that
it Yorkie?
was a dog named Togo.
Oh, to go.
Yeah, and
That's deep. That's beautiful.
yeah, Togo started off. Togo left from. See, what is it? They go from Anchorage to
Tallahassee.
No, what's the other? Whatever.
You know?
Fairbank.
I don't remember the other town, but
Ontario.
But the first leg of the trip
Orlando.
Nashville.
went the farthest distance and then back.
Burbank.
There were other dogs that were
Loudon.
Loudon to Anchorage.
Friendsville.
No.
Oh.
But yeah, so he covered like 400 miles, say 400 miles of this trip, right?
400 miles of this trip, right?
The other dogs did it, in a relay, but they had like 75 miles to cover for their relay. Togo, at the end of it, the last leg coming back into town, like Togo was spent. He was an older dog anyways. And so like dude was like, I can't go any further with this team. So they put together another team. It was the same musher that owned both dogs. Balto was his.
It was Cuba Gooding Jr. That's the movie.
Balto was his backup lead dog.
Dogs.
And so they were
Got
like,
all the credit.
yeah. And so he came in and did the last like 175 miles of it
Bastard.
and got all the credit, whereas Togo actually did 400 miles of it.
It's something like that in every cool story. Like the Flags of Our Fathers were dudes that weren't there.
Yeah.
And then the whole
Yeah.
marathon thing we talk about every week.
Yeah.
Dude, remember whenever we talked about that whole marathon thing for probably 30 minutes?
Yeah.
The next day, we're at the games on Saturday, and Danny brings it up.
So I had to tell him
Completely-
actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Completely unsolicited. I was like,
He said like the guy that ran from the Battle of the Marathon and died. I was like, actually, it was the whole Athenian army that made that run.
and then he knew
And
the
they
rest.
lived.
Then he knew like the last quarter of it. I was like,
Yeah, because when I tied it together, I was like, yeah, the Athenian army was waiting at Athens. He went, oh, yeah, they were. Like, it all clicked. I was like, yeah, dude.
yeah. And then they went. I was like, so I'm literally the only idiot that doesn't know this
Yeah.
stuff. Like, this is what
At
I'm
least
starting.
parts of it.
This is what I'm starting to piece together. But I feel
Caleb's becoming self-aware.
I feel
He's like Grok, dude. He's learning.
I fill my brain space with stuff how to run a podcast, and I just don't know anything else apparently,
What?
and barely don't even know how to do that.
Well, see, we don't fool with learning how to run the podcast at all.
I don't
so.
fool with learning.
We fool with great pontification.
I think you can get medicine for
Ponderers,
that.
buddy. We're deep thinkers.
Deep stankers.
Grow up, Peter Pan.
No. Well, all right. I think now's a great time to end it before this derails anymore. Anybody got anything else to add before we wrap things up?
No.
All right.
I'm just waiting to heckle a quote.
If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it.
So read Marcus Aurelius. huh?
Yeah.
In this, you have the power to revoke at any moment. Marcus Aurelius.
Taylor's been reading My First Philosopher.